Hello, hello, Rhoda here. Welcome to my craft room. Today we're going to have what's on my desk. So I'm going to be showing you what I'm getting ready to work on, get into. I'll show you the digitals I'm using, that kind of thing. So this is our Sneaky Peek journal from Mom. And I believe we are on the second page now. And this one was just part of the calendar, and then the little bird was also like the upper part. As you can see, he's a blue-gray gnatcatcher, and it says a little bit about him here. And then it flips over to this side, and I left this to where it could be written on or whatever. And then on this side, we have a altered envelope kind of a thing. You can see the window. I put some of that skeletal lace that you can get in places like Hobby Lobby on here to kind of give you something else to look through. But you can almost see the hummingbird. Can you see him? He's in there sucking on that flower. And I put a butterfly there, and it opens up, and you can see the back side. Looks like the first. I've got garden and a quote, it is not enough to stare up the steps. We must step up the stairs. Vaclav Havel. Okay, and this was part of a magazine. Mom gets the Birds and Blooms magazine and forever is giving those to me. So that is our sneaky peek of the day. The other day you got a whole bunch because I showed you the whole outside and the inside and all kinds of things. But don't worry, I got some things to show you. All right. This is something that I kept talking about for the longest time. This is a tag book for the Craftly Haul. And I believe I've showed this to you before. It's just I had never gotten in there and finished off the actual storyline. And I don't know if you want me to read what I'm putting into this or not. But I use craft cardstock here from Hobby Lobby, the paper studio. So that is what I'm using on all of the pieces for the tags. And I just cut them out, and I've still got a dummy tag over there somewhere. But I kept all the little pieces from the bottom of all the papers as I was doing each of the days. So I had a whole bunch of them. And that's what I put down here at the bottom. And then I took one of the pictures here. And a few I printed separate, to put in for here. But other than that, I used all my leftovers. And I want to thank everybody for coming to visit and seeing what I'm going to show you today. And I hope I'll show you some things that might inspire you and things that you might want to purchase. So I'm going to be listing names and the stores and stuff like that. And okay, so we have this. And I figured these stood for themselves. It's about the site of a settlement that was decimated by plague in 1665. This is very important to have this in here because this is almost also how it ends, If you're a fan of the story, you will know that is how it ends. All right, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, and I'm just going to flip through it. All right, this one here says, in the early 1700s, a church was built on the plot with a small cemetery. And I got to glue that. Let me glue that. Oh my goodness. Some things I used, I guess, my glue stick on. And it sometimes does not hold. So I always have to be careful. This is just my kind of dummy one. This was the one I come up with whatever I had left over from doing the book. And then I wanted to see if I could make a tag journal with it. So that's what we have. And you have a sticker here. You have the church back there. This one is in the early spring of 1863. Work began on the building of what was later to become Craftly Hall. A doctor and his wife later take residence. So whenever I had like a little word chip here, I call them, I didn't want to put too much over on this side. Now, some of these are probably bigger writing than I needed. I also should have inked through here or used a tea-dye paper. I'm still thinking about that. So I know it's kind of hurting the eyes that it's so bright white. It doesn't go with the theme, But anyway, I wanted to write this part of the story in. When Dr. Milson was killed restoring one of the outbuildings, his wife Violet was cast into a deep and traumatized despair. She refused to stay at the house any longer, and so the very next day she went to stay with her sister, sent for her belongings, and never returned to the area. And then over here it talks about where he got killed in the spring of 1864. And then here it says Craftly Hall then slumbered beneath a heavy silence, untouched for 55 years until Rose and Jeffrey Binder took up residence at the beginning of May 1920. I wanted to put some things in between here, and I had to find just the perfect things to go in that would add to the story, but yet not repeat exactly what was going on already in these things. So I had Jeffrey had met his attractive wife Rose at the agricultural hardware manufacturing factory his father had established. She had become unwell while employed at the factory, overcome by the effects of phosphorus and sulfur that filled the air, suffering from sore eyes and a prolonged cough. I'm trying to also set the story. These little word chips don't tell you enough, and that's what I thought was missing from this tag book. And then I've also got these places where I've only got a small thing, and I've got excess pieces still in my little zipper pouch over there that may work well to finish out these emptier ones. But her cousin Alice had similarly succumbed to a comparable affliction and was brought to the house as autumn arrived. And then it just says Rose's cousin Alice joins them at the house. So it wasn't quite word for word. And then it was Alice who first noticed something irregular in and about the house. One bright morning at the beginning of September, she had been down to the cold, damp cellar in search of the source of scratching sounds she had heard, and found an old empty bird cage, which she considered strangely unsettling. Alice shuddered at the idea of there being rats in the cellar. And it talks about her hearing scratching from the cold, damp cellar, but it wasn't too samey. Upon returning to the kitchen, she saw a reverend wandering the small cemetery. She continued with her work and consequently forgot about them both. So this talks about Alice seeing someone dressed as a church reverend casually wandering beside a small cemetery. Over here, this says a few days later she sees a young boy peering in through the glass of the front door. I'm going to have to fix this because this is just too repeaty of what that says. And then when she went to investigate, she found no one there, although she was puzzled to discover a small stack of clean, shining pebbles left out the door, left outside the door. And see, I don't have anything on this side. I don't know what happened to me. But this is where she sees a figure in the corner of the room. So I have to find something from this description in the story to put here. In the center of the room stood a pile of dinner plates. Okay, so this is on the next afternoon as she once again returned to the derelict wing of the house. Broom in hand, she stopped at the doorway of the same room and stared at the bare wooden floor. There in the center of the room stood a pile of perhaps 7 dinner plates, the top one covered in moldy food, while scattered around the room were various items of misshapen cutlery. I had to get that part in here because I put this bent fork and spoon. Okay. Rose, thinking Jeffrey was still working at such a late hour, drowsily got out of bed. Oh, okay. It was supposed to be you read that and then you read this. Okay. At around 1:45 Rose was disturbed by muffled sounds coming from the direction of the study. Rose, thinking Jeffrey was still working at such a late hour, drowsily got out of bed. The soft sounds, resembling somebody shuffling along a wooden floor, continued as she approached the study. But when she reached the doorway, she realized the room was completely empty. The sound stopped. She returned to the bedroom. I gotta fix that. To the bedroom to find Jeffrey lying there, sound asleep. Okay. Then, Rose noticed a small girl in the garden looking over a low wall. And I've repeated it over here, so I wasn't really sure how to get around that. I'm thinking I might do like a ... And then it would be, to come over here. And then maybe to come back here with a dot that started off again. But it's one Friday afternoon when Rose was busy in the east wing once again, folding and packing the few curtains that remained hanging at the smeared windows. Wearing a scarf across her face to protect her from the dust, she noticed a small girl standing in the garden, looking over a low wall. She appeared to shimmer in the pale autumnal sunlight. I may just be able to stop at that point and then to go over there. At the very same moment, she heard a terrible crash from downstairs, and concerned for Alice, she rushed away to find her cousin scrubbing the kitchen floor. Alice had heard and seen nothing. Rose returned to her curtains. They were hanging as though they had never been touched. Upon entering the room, she stopped and gasped as she saw that all the curtains she had previously taken down were returned to the rails. I thought this is my little addition, so I thought it was different enough. And then we got an old solid oak bureau standing alone in a completely empty room. 2 days later, Rose was left alone in the house. She had completed the packing of the curtains and was now occupied with sorting through the one item of furniture in the east wing, an old solid oak bureau whose drawers and compartments were stuffed with papers, letters, postcards, small ornaments, and mementos. She then heard a small knocking sound, as though something might be trapped somewhere inside the bureau. Unable to find anything, it occurred to her that maybe it was caught behind it. Using all her strength, she was able to shift the heavy piece of furniture away from the wall. And it says a section of wallpaper had been ripped away, revealing the almost illegibly scrawled words, "Get away." Okay. And then, let's see, falling back, shocked at what she had found, she shuddered as a stone suddenly dropped to the floor beside her. Now, see, that's ad verbatim right there. Then another fell, then another, as the first drops of a rain shower. Another quickly followed, then dozens hit the wooden floor with great speed at almost the same time. Rose covered her head and ran from the room. Okay, the following night, sometime after 2 o'clock, Rose and Geoffrey were awakened by gentle knocking. Then something large and very heavy had been allowed to roll down the stairs. They rushed to the door to see what could have been responsible, and upon returning back to their bedroom, they were horrified to discover several plates and bowls lying broken on the kitchen floor. So this is where I did the dots situation, and I think that may work good. Now this is like a little flippy right here that you could write behind if you wanted, and you see the steps going across the floor. Okay, extremely panicked, the Binders returned to their bedroom, wedged the door closed, and spent the rest of the night discussing again Rose's previous experiences. As the sun rose, they scoured the selection of Craftly Post newspapers that had collected in one of the empty rooms downstairs. Geoffrey was sure he had quite recently seen an article that had something to do with these improbable episodes. And then they had learned about the Committee of Psychical Investigators and its most famous researcher, Ernest J. Brundle. Oh my goodness. And then after a few more days in which the house remained quiet, Mr. Brundle... See, I'm going to have to figure out another situation where I can get this first, or this over here, and then this first, because this is what needs to be read first, and yeah, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Mr. Brundle seemed to the Binders supposed to be a charming man, well educated, respectful of their situation. From his car, he brought measuring tape, cord, electric flex, and it's just a list of all those things that he brought. Then we have shown the camera and everything, and he immediately got to work. He told them that Craftly Hall seemed to him calm and quiet, and then he would be surprised should he detect anything other than the creaking of old beams and the typical settling of a house. He walked through the rooms during the night, but wasn't able to find anything to rouse his suspicions. He concluded the night at the room Rose had prepared for him, placing his notebook on the bedside table. After a couple hours, Mr. Brundle walked into the village and called and asked a couple of other members of the Committee of Psychical Investigators to join him. See, you're supposed to go over here and read about the notebook getting flown across the room. So this is out of sequence. Okay. Ernest knows the word you. Okay. And let's see, Alice was preparing breakfast. So then that should be seen. Because as she was preparing breakfast, he went to the bathroom and used it. And then he saw the condensation. But I used the you one, so all I had was the go one. Oh my gosh. For the rest of the day, Ernest equipped the dining room in readiness for the seance, having explained to Rose and Geoffrey exactly what such a thing would entail and what was they might expect. They would contact any souls that were still attached to the house and try to find out what was keeping them there. The young Reverend Dixon from the village was in attendance. I had to make sure I mentioned his name. And then it's talking about the group gathering around a circular table. And then this didn't need anything. It's talking about the candles and the planchette. And then it's talking about they were in communication with the Reverend from 1700s. And then over the course of the following 45 minutes, both Ernest and the Reverend posed questions to which the spirits answered in knocks. While Rose, Geoffrey, and the two committee members listened intently. The Reverend from the 1700s revealed that the sounds, writing on objects, moving objects, thrown stones, had all been the work of others, the poor souls who had fallen victim to the plague. So I was able to answer exactly what happened there. They were dreadfully unsettled, the Reverend indicated, not only due to the way they had suffered, but also because they had now been forgotten. They felt they should somehow be honored since since it were they. I think I was having trouble with this before with my typing. Okay. Who had first cleared the land on which later residence was made, had made their homes. In order to bring resolution to their spiritual visitors, they would construct a new chapel with a plaque to remember those who had passed. Okay, so you see, I still have work to do on this. It's getting there. It's getting there. All right, so first thing I'm going to talk about, let me zoom up here a little bit more. First thing I'm going to talk about, as you've already seen, there's another Poe journal here. But this is going to be one of those simple ones. I'm not going to do too much. But the only thing is, I only printed it on one side. I think I did my very first one by accident, only one-sided. So, and then some of it's like where the ink kind of went out. But this is going to be in a little simple journal, like I did with the autumn I just showed you the other day, my autumn journal. So I've got a few pieces of ephemera here. I've got a few pieces from that Gothic in the Belfry from Tracy Fox. I've just got thises and that's in here. I've got a little bit of grungy stuff here. I've got a few of these skeleton in red and green. I've got a few other things under here. So all of this is going to be in a journal. And I've got this, actually, it's the file folder that I dyed out there, thinking it would go for the Poe journals. I'm thinking I'm going to just cut this down and make it my cover. And then they sent this in the, was it Gothic? Yeah, Gothic in the Belfry. Had this cool looking old, can you see it? It's a cool looking old book. And I'm thinking about putting that over the top of this to make it look like it's the book. So anyway, that is the plan on that. That's going to be worked on here eventually. Now, another one of the simple journals is going to be this one. And it's going to be a bee journal. And everybody loves the bees. And this is an envelope Mom got. And it's got like this picture. I'm going to take that and be able to cut that out. I've got a few other things that may still be inside. I've got a picture here. There's not really anything inside there. Just this is the only thing I can use. It has a bookmark, though I wouldn't have to take the whole thing. I could just cut it off there and use that. And then there's a black and white. So things like that you can use. This is just something free. Now, what I'm going to use in it are these. Now, this little section here. This is from My Porch Prints. It's called the Beekeeper Journal pages. It's the pages. And I've got them front and back, so I can put those in as different sizes of pages. And they've each got bees, and then I chose that one. I love that big old bee. Now that one was sort of running out of ink. The second batch here is also My Porch Prints, and it's the Busy Bee Journal. Am I even in screen? I'm sorry. So this is the first one, the Beekeeper Journal pages. Then we've got the Busy Bee Journal, and I've only picked a couple pages out for it as well. You know, the things that I thought would go the best here. This one's upside down. These are a little bit larger than the first one, so I've got several sizes here, which I think is going to work well. And of course, you know, the subject matter I think works. Now here I've got some of these that didn't quite print correctly, but this is the Bee Journal by Lynn Art Studio on Etsy. Now I had like a piece here that didn't print, so I printed again, and I got an extra piece on there. This one is, yeah, I think that one's okay. Then this is a background here. It's a really pretty kit. It's really bright. Now this one, I put it in the printer incorrectly, so two things printed on this one page. I don't think it hurts it. You can see the little wax comb over here. That's not supposed to be on the same page as the queen bee and the bees. And then the beekeeping. Yeah, that wasn't supposed to be on here. Now, this is the part where it didn't print. That was the piece around here. Right? I think so, yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a side tuck. So I'll figure out something that can be created into a side tuck, and I won't have to worry about it. Now here's the queen bee. That's the one that you saw doubled up over there. And then you have this one. And there's the honey jar. This was a repeat of the other one I just did. And yeah. So there we go. I didn't have... There's the one that got doubled up on this side. That's it right there. So that is what I'm going to put into this one. Now there's a little bit of ephemera. This is the Beekeeper Journal by My Porch Princess. It's an envelope, so I'll be able to have it as a flappy out kind of thing. A couple of pockets. I didn't want to print too much. Here's some postcards that I can use. This is also... I got them both upside down, don't I? This is just little pieces and parts. I'm going to cut this off right here. I can use that somewhere, but I'm going to use this as a pocket. That's just how I'm going to do it. And I'm not crazy about these flowers, but I did want the words. And here's a few other pieces here. And you've got a big bookmark, and you got a little bee on about everything. I'm not all that crazy about the butterflies, but I still may cut them out. I never really understood what these were, unless there's some kind of a stylized ticket or a pull or something. I never really did understand those. All right, so that's the little bee journal. That's going to be like a simple journal. This one is a commission here. This is one that my cousin wants me to make for her daughter for Christmas. So I got to get to working on it. Now I'm going to make it an altered book. So I've got this book about Hoffa from the Dollar Tree. So it was only $1.25. But I like that it has a black cover, because then I could do anything on it. And we'll be working with this. So if you're wanting to know how I'm going to do it, it's going to be a simple kind of an altered book. So it wouldn't be hard for you to follow along. But the next time we get together, I will be showing you how to individualize your pages and how we're going to work through that. Now this one has about 354, 5, 6 pages. So you're going to be ripping out quite a few. When you do an altered book, you always are ripping out some. Now this here is the from my mom's little, it's like a CD stand. Back in the day, you could get these little tall CD stands that stood about 2.5 feet tall. And these little women were on there. So I thought I could use those in here somewhere and make them into pockets or tucks or something. And okay, I went to Walmart today and I bought some ink. This is Monday, by the way. So I bought me a thing of ink for $59 so I'd get all my colors. Well, because I was about out. I was out of yellow altogether. So I put a yellow in there and I'm out of yellow again. So I'm not able to print anything else for this as yet. I'll be going out again Wednesday. So anyhow, this is called Just Chillin'. And it's by Tracy Fox. And very beautiful kit. Now this is the A4 version. I don't know if that's the American, the US version or not. But this is the one that I thought would work the best here. Because as you can see, when you fold that in half, it works perfectly with this book. So, and that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to be folding each one of these in half, ripping it down the center, and then I'm going to be splaying it across like that. I'm trying to figure out how I want to do the edges, if I'm going to rip it in a certain way, if I'm just going to ruler rip it, which is going to be like this, where you just lay your ruler on there and then you kind of pull and rip. Let's see if I can do a little bit of it right here. Kind of like that. Now that gives you a bit of a jiggy jag, but not much. But it will take ink really nicely, so I don't know that I'm going to need to go into ink on the edges or on the edges of the paper. It could be I rip the edges of the paper. I like the idea of it being in an altered book because it's called Just Chillin' because these Victorian ladies are chilling and reading books. There's a few of them playing instruments, but most of them are sitting on a settee or a couch and are reading. There's also a bunch of newsprint kind of things in behind. So I thought all of that would go in nicely together. And if I needed to, I could leave portions of this book showing, or I could print other books maybe to put in here on the pages, because that would add strength and stability. So that's what I'm thinking. Okay, so let me go ahead and flip through here. So you saw this first lady. I think she drained me of the yellow at the very end, because there was 32 pages in this kit. Now you can go on her Tracy Fox Creations on Etsy, and you can find these kits. Oh, she also has another site as well. This little lady, you know, they're very pretty. They have like butterflies or all this interest in the background, and I just love it. That lady. So sometimes you'll have a bright couch, and you got all these other things like that's almost like right in the center. So yeah, and there's this one. So it's going to be this. Mostly it's butterflies. Now my cousin, her daughter likes frou-frou, girly stuff. So this should be right up her alley. I'm sure I'm going to be using some laces or something to decorate the outside of the book. Maybe even on the inside in some way if it doesn't bulk it up too much. But yeah, I have a few thoughts and plans on how I want to do this. But I really love these scenes here. Yeah, they're really gorgeous. And like I said, I have to get in my book and divide it up. Because usually when you do an altered book, you pull out about 8 to 10 pages in between where you're going to have like a pocket folding. Now I've got a video on how I did an altered book. And I went through several steps and everything with it. So I might have to see if when I get to doing this, I'll be able to link that up for you to go by if you would like to do that. Or if you just wanted to go and work with me and do a simplified form of an altered book. It doesn't have to be difficult. If it's just in an altered book and you don't do any pockets or anything, you know, that's okay. Now, see, there's a few little kids in here, and they're reading as well, which is cute. And there's another one. And then some of the ladies aren't exactly reading, they're doing other things. But you can get in here and you can do stamping and other such things. You can put stuff in behind here. Like I got a ton of tea bags. That is an idea. Because I have a ton of tea bags that I could just like, I could rip them and put them on the back edge here. And I think that might be the way to go. Because that looks vintagey. She's just contemplating life. Oh my goodness. I wish there were some birds. Now, see, here's one lady. Oh, I think there's two of them playing the violin. And it's a wonder there's none of them doing needlepoint. I would have thought that would have been in this time period. I really love this one with the piano page. And, yeah. Here's another one. She's just kind of sitting there thinking about her day. That one, she's done fell asleep. She didn't even have a book to make her pass out. She's just tired. Being a lady is just exhausting, y'all. Back in the day. Now, she did have a book she set to the side so she could take a nap. And then this one's sort of an odd one. And something happened where my computer ran out of paper, so it went to my back feed, which I had like a piece of cardstock. So it put this one on a piece of cardstock, which that's okay. That might be something that might be pretty for the cover. Because it's really different. Okay, now this is Crafty Cat, Vintage Ladies from Crafty Cat. She had done a video where she was showing how she had made this to where it was on a piece of material, I believe it was. But I said, well, I'll just like these. I'll use these on pockets or something because they're all dressed in that sort of period clothing. So I'll just use all that for this journal. I don't know if I've got the skill to make that whatever with the material. She was having trouble with it. Miss Crafty Cat. All right. Now, the last thing I'm going to show you. Well, maybe I'll show you this too, because I'm needing to work on that. This here is my my tote. And these are all totes that I've got stuff in. This is this specimen one that I'm telling you, I have not got to it yet, have I? And I keep talking about it. Well, this is like a wing book by Mente Papers. And I had these from way back when. And I've got little birds in it. There may be some bugs in it. So this is going to go along with my specimen. Especially if I got these little tiny window kind of things, which I do plan to do. These will be perfect. This was from Chestita. And it's got little bees and things in it. It's like a little fold out. It's got butterflies and, yeah, moths. So I think this will go good in here. We've also got this book. And at first I thought I would use this. Then I was kind of looking at something else. And I thought, no. And then I changed my mind back again. So, and then we got these two backdrop papers from Tim Holtz. And I'm going to somehow use these in the book. Here's a bunch of feathers. This was my dress that I made a while back. I don't know if you remember that. And that was a piece of paper from somebody. Here is my, this is my stamp set that I got to actually use for this. These came, I ordered them from somebody. I can't remember where. But they have a bunch of different things on here I think would work. as backgrounds. What all? This was a bunch of my ephemera and stuff for this. I think I've kind of showed you before. I had this as well that I thought I was going to use on the outside. It almost looks like a fly catcher or a net of some type. And that's why I liked it. It also looks like a snowflake. But then I have extra papers back in here. These are like forest looking papers. I got them ages ago. I need to use them. Then we have a few other things back in here. The smaller papers. That's from Chestita as well. These are some. This is one I made back in my school journal. And these two colors just did not work with all this green. That was something that was in the mail, and I thought that might work for something. And yeah, I just have so much stuff in here for this journal. And I was watching one of the ladies. I love to watch her because she's so zen. Her voice is so calm and zen. It's Spirit of Nature Art. And she's not on there very much. But so I've been watching some of her old things again. And she had this Stamperia pad that she was showing. That she did a... What do you call those? It's kind of like a lap book. But she used a file folder. And it had a spine on it about this big. So it folded up. When you unfolded it, it also folded back out again with two smaller spines. And she used this kit and decorated it. I want to do that so bad. And I think I'm actually going to do it. And then I'm going to add it into that journal I just showed you. Into this one. I'm thinking I can just make it and then add it into the inside in some way as the middle signature. And then I can make two small signatures on the outside. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. So you may end up seeing this first. And then that. Or what. I did say I was going to make this the pages in the book. And, yeah, I still may. I don't know. I'm still thinking about this book. I've had it on hold forever, haven't I? I love this page with the fish. And she did like a cool fold out with them. And then certain sides she didn't use. Here's a bunch of tags. And she called this kind of stuff sacred geometry. I'm not really sure exactly what all that is. Then you have a page of cut aparts back here. And so this is where... And see, I was thinking, she used all of these, and I said, well, I wonder why she didn't use any of the phrases in here. And look at them. They're all in some other language. What in the world? There's 4. Only 4. We have imagine, silence speaks when words can't, natural vibes, and dear self, stay strong. That is the only English ones in here. What in the world? I don't understand why this is in another language. So, anyhow. So, that is what is on my desk. And, oh, I forgot this one. Somebody, who was that? Let me look over here real quick. All right, Miss Victoria. I had asked on a video a while back what they would like to see me work on. Of course, it takes me forever to get around to that. So she gave me 3 options. She gave me a journal made entirely out of junk, and that's what this is. So I've got all these. This is like from a bag of onions, a bag of something, and I cut the front. And it's okay. So I got that. I've got some bags in here. I've got coasters in here from Red Lobster. I have some envelopes that somebody sent me. These are from where me and Mom go to get some soup, and they always put a doily under the soup. More coasters. A bank ticket, or bank envelope. Another envelope. This is a cereal bag. I haven't quite figured out what I'm going to do with that yet. This is a cookie bag that may have seen better days from Burger King. And then we have a little envelope, kind of, no, a bag here from the animal hospital. I have, this is the journal that I intended to put all this kind of stuff in. So you see I've still got some more gluing to do, so I've got to glue the rest of that. There's a pharmacy bag from Walmart. This is aluminum foil. I'm not exactly sure what I was going to do with it. But here is the Garden Through the Garden 2021. And that's what I'm going to cover these pages with. And then I have backyard birds and a few other things. So I don't know if I'm going to put birds in here as well. That Spirit of Nature art lady, she also does this thing where she has these cutouts. And I think she uses books a lot. But she'll cut out things. So I don't know how many of these calendar pages I'm actually going to need. Alright, so that's that. What was the other thing I was going to... Alright, I think that might be it for now. That's enough to keep me busy, isn't it? At least to the end of the year. But I hope everybody got a few ideas and are going to keep up with me to see what I do with this, that, or the other. And I hope everybody has a great, great day. And I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye, everybody.